It has not been a good week for Joe Biden. In fact, I would say after this week, he is pretty much a lame duck president. You are going to find now that even members of his own party are going to run from him, especially as it's now midterm season. 2022 is here. We're no longer just theorizing about what's going to happen in the midterm elections. Everything is really beginning to shape up for an absolute GOP tsunami, taking back both the House and the Senate. And you are going to see now Democratic senators and congressmen on one level running for cover, and on another level basically putting together an agenda apart from Joe Biden and working on enacting it without him, because he is an unmitigated disaster. All in the same week. He lost at the Supreme Court, and he found out that he lost at the Supreme Court when he went up to Capitol Hill trying to gin up support among his own party to support his so-called voting rights nonsense, which that imploded. The filibuster is going to stay. He went to Atlanta and basically called everybody there a racist. That's really a great way to, you got poll numbers now at 33%, we found out on Monday. So you've already basically blamed half the country, the unvaccinated, for the continuation of the pandemic and Omicron. Now you're accusing another half of the country of being racist. Then you go up to Capitol Hill. You can't get members of your own party to jump on board with your agenda. And then the Supreme Court says you cannot use OSHA to enforce a vaccine mandate on private business. Now, I told you that was going to happen. In fact, I had said on Monday or Tuesday, I believe it was going to be a split decision. And it turned out to be absolutely true. The president was within his purview, within his authority to mandate some type of a vaccine among those who are, quote, employed by the government. That's why the military, they get vaccinated for things that aren't even available to the general public, and they can enforce that. And schools, we lost the school argument a long time ago because they inoculate kids for everything. So doesn't matter that the science shows emphatically that kids really don't need this. Doesn't matter if they decide they're going to mandate it for the kids to get it. It's unfortunately, sadly, a done deal if you're going to stay within the public school structure. There are private schools, cottage schools, and other alternative forms of learning that this certainly is not going to be a problem for. And the Ivy League schools are doing it simply for political posturing and more of their new modern segregation, basically keeping the enlightened, the informed, the caring, vaxxed people away from you nasty, unclean, unvaxxed individuals. And it's just a new form of segregation and virtue signaling. But OSHA did not have the authority to enforce a mandate on a safety measure that goes beyond the company. OSHA was put into place to make sure that each work environment was safe. So if you've got a factory and 50 stories above the people that are working on the ground floor of that factory, you have catwalks. And you have other employees up there walking across those catwalks 50 feet above the rest of the workers. OSHA comes in and says, well, you need to put safety rails on both sides of those catwalks so that people aren't just falling off and plummeting to their death. That's a mandate, a restriction, a policy that affects that person while they're at work. While you're here, you will wear safety goggles. Okay? Those apply to workers while they're at the job. Never before has OSHA ever tried to enact a policy that affected people even when they weren't clocked in. And when you mandate that somebody has to take an injection of a medication into their body, that doesn't just affect them the 8 hours they're at work. That affects them 24/7, 365 days a year. And the United States Supreme Court said, no, not going to happen. Now, this battle's not over, because ultimately it's going to come before the Supreme Court. Does the government have the right to tell adults they must be vaccinated for something? Does the government have the right to tell another person you must receive a jab? And I do believe that a lot of these vaccine passports and the way that certain cities like New York, LA, San Francisco operate, that you can't come inside a theater or indoor venue or restaurant unless you can prove you have been vaccinated. I believe all that is eventually going to make its way to the Supreme Court. So this is not done, but Joe Biden is. He is a lame duck president. And I'm telling you, Hillary is probably salivating. I know some of you laugh that up, but she's salivating. And who knows what else is going to happen? Will Joe Biden be the first president, other than Nixon, to actually resign? And not resign because he doesn't want to be impeached. Resign because he just wants to get out of Dodge. We shall see.